many people don't even know about the harmful effects. We have a lot of people going through health challenges, but they don't know that the things happening in their environment are actually the one causing it. So I feel like if you are hygienic and then we are taking care of our environment, it is going to like bring more of like good health, and we don't have to spend money on taking care of our health every time.
The aim of this day is not just to pick up trash, but to raise awareness about the danger of plastic pollution, poor waste management, and unsustainable consumption habits. According to the United Nations, about 2 billion tons of municipal waste are generated each year, much of it ending up in the ocean and landfills, threatening wildlife and human health. We also spoke to the assistant of the Eco City Vision, Okpeyemi Boluwatife Afuwakwe.
So globally, it started in Estonia in 2008, where everyone has to like rush in to clean up the community in less than 5 hours. Then from there, we started locally at Nigeria, where over 60 million volunteered annually to clean up the community. And this is where Eco City Vision comes in, where everyone, both the community-based cities, the NGOs, the students, and group of people came in to clean up the community. This is what happened daily, I would say. So the plastics have affected everyone mostly, especially in my community, where I've seen both rural areas and urban areas. It's like it affects us both harmful, especially for our health, where we have to like, take plastic as something that we have to reuse, recycle, and reduce. One thing I would say is we have to use the 3 R's, which is called recycle, reuse, and reduce. When you take care of these things, you know how to like level out your plastics and not to affect human health. I feel like when you are taking out your, let's say the reuse of bags, reuse of plastics and cans and nylons, it helps us to like reduce daily out footprint. When we are taking care of that and we are using it to reuse our things, it makes sure that everything is in a balanced way. My advice to people is, even if the community are not doing it, we can take up this challenge to clean up our community. It is what we do in Eco City Vision. And yeah, a lot of people have come and say, we want to volunteer for this. We have to make the community clean, even if the government are not doing anything. This is my advice to you all. You can take 2 or more 3 people, clean up your community so that it will not affect our health. And this is what we have to do daily. So yeah, to prevent our health.
World Clean Up Day is more than just an event. It's a reminder that the planet is our shared home. The real task is not just cleaning once a year, but building a lasting culture of responsibility and sustainability. Victoria Ogbaki for Voice of the People TV.
It begins with every one of us, this is our environment, this is our town, this is our community. And the most important thing is that we have to get our environment clean. Health is wealth.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
Voice of the People, you can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokubo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikenda Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka, Amayanabo the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I.
Well, hello and welcome to Newshour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche.
And I am Nenna Ndomdioto. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Here are the headlines. Senate clears Fani-Kayode, Omokri, Ikpeazu, former Inec chair, and others for ambassadorial positions.
Also, Tinubu seeks National Assembly's approval for 2026-2028 MTEF.
Reps ask federal government to cut aviation taxes by 50% to curb soaring airfares.
And Nigeria-Benin foreign ministers meet amid security concerns.
Bayelsa deputy governor collapses, rushed to hospital.
Plateau government meets a defense minister, seeks collaboration.
On the foreign scene, White House defends seizures of Venezuelan oil tanker.
Well, in business news, Nigeria's oil output rises to 1.436 million barrels per day in November and misses OPEC quota.
In sport, Super Falcons sweep one sport and retains top position in Africa.
In the world of entertainment, AGN comes
in details. The Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs has approved the nomination of former Aviation Minister Fani-Kayode as ambassador. Other cleared nominees include former Interior Minister Abdulrahman Adambazwa, ex-presidential aide Reno Omokri, Senator Ita Inang, Senator Grace Bent, former Inec Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, and former governors Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi and Victor Okezie Ikpeazu.
Mahmoud Yakubu, former Executive Secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, and former Chairman INEC.
Committee, my fellow nominees. My name is Right Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, a three-time member of the House of Representatives, member of the 5th Assembly, 6th Assembly, and the 7th Assembly, and then a two-time governor of Enugu State.
You're more than qualified. Take your bow and go.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
The screening conducted in batches of 5 saw a brief clash during Omokri's turn. Senators Mohammed Ali Ndume and Adams Oshiomhole disagreed over whether nominees should leave immediately or comment further. The committee chairman intervened to manage the disagreement.
Well, turning to other stories, President Bola Tinubu has asked the National Assembly to approve the 2026-2028 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin read Tinubu's letter in plenary, noting that the documents were approved at the Federal Executive Council meeting on the 3rd of December 2025. Tinubu said the 2026 budget will be prepared based on the fiscal assumptions in the MTEF and FSP and urged lawmakers to act swiftly. The documents were referred to the Senate Committee on Finance, which is expected to report back on the 17th of December.
Still on the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has raised concerns over soaring domestic airfares. During plenary, the House urged the federal government to cut aviation taxes by 50% to make flights more affordable during the Yuletide. Resolution followed a motion by Obi Agwocha, who described the fares as exorbitant, placing a heavy burden on families trying to reunite for the holidays.
Distinguished colleagues, my name is Right Honorable Obi Agwocha, represent the good people of Iguano, Umuahia North, and Umuahia South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise today on a matter of urgent national importance concerning the exorbitant rise of airline ticket costs, the consequential impact on security of lives.
Thank you. Those in support of these, say aye. Those in support, say aye. Those against, say nay. The
Several lawmakers supported the motion, though they differed on the causes of the fare hikes.
I have the mandate of my constituents, Mr. Speaker, to support this motion, that this House should also support this motion to see the light of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Ngozi Okolie. I represent Aniocha Oshimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, the issue of increase in air tickets is becoming very, very alarming. But also shocking is that most times when we raise motions here, the ministries deem it unnecessary to even carry out the motions we raise. Severally, we have raised motions that paired, because I believe that if our roads are fixed very well, fewer people would fly. So we should urge the Ministry of Works to fix the roads so that our travelers will have an alternative.
We must take into cognizance that to run an airline, when you're looking at the spare parts, you're looking at all the various components that go in to making an aircraft safe. Most of them are imported into this country. When you look at the manpower needed to actually maintain an aircraft, most of these things are imported. So when you put all these components together, and don't forget, if an aircraft, you buy tickets for an aircraft, and let's say the aircraft is a 100-seater, and only 5 people or 10 people buy tickets, it is expected that that plane will fly. How does the operator cover his costs?
During unitary periods, they always provide either free or subsidized. But what about the areas where we don't have this facility of railway line? Are we saying that with the near precarious, with due respect, which the government of the day is trying to fix, but we are not yet there? So the airliners, we should not assist them to provide succor to them during unitary period? It is apt. This House should support these prayers.
And away from the Green Chamber, Nigeria's Foreign Minister Yusuf Tuga has met with his Benin Noah counterpart Olusegun Baka in Abuja. At the ECOWAS office, they discussed the recent attempted coup in Benin and rising security concerns in the region. Tuga noted that much of Nigeria's insecurity is influenced by external factors and stressed that given the close ties between the two countries, events in one inevitably affect the other. Both ministers highlighted their strong working relationship and agreed that deeper cooperation is key for regional stability. Baka said the recent events in Benin shows that democracy remains resilient in Africa. He thanked Nigeria for its swift support and praised ECOWAS intervention in halting the coup.
We now move on to Bayelsa State, where the Deputy Governor, Senator Lawrence Ewu-Jakpo, has been rushed to hospital after collapsing at the government house in Yenegua on Thursday afternoon. The cause of the collapse is not yet known, but sources describe his condition as serious. He was taken to the Federal Medical Center, Yenegua, for urgent medical attention. The Deputy Governor's media aide, Deborah Atasi, confirmed the incident, but declined to provide further details.
In another development, Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has met with the newly appointed Defense Minister Christopher Musa to discuss strategies for tackling insecurity in the state. The meeting held in Abuja was confirmed by the governor's spokesperson, Gyang Bere. Mutfwang described Musa's appointment as strategic and timely, praising his experience and professionalism, and assured full cooperation from Plateau State in security efforts. He also commended Musa for his service as Chief of Defense Staff and urged him to apply his discipline and expertise in his new role. Musa thanked the governor, noting that Mutfwang was the first public official to visit him since his appointment, and pledged close collaboration to strengthen security in Plateau and nationwide.
In the meantime, the Adamawa government says it is working to restore lasting peace in Lamode local government area, following renewed communal clashes on Monday, December 8th. Deputy Governor Kalitepwa Faratua spoke to reporters after the State Security Council meeting in Yola. She said a joint task force of security agencies has been deployed to stabilize the area and protect residents. Faruta expressed condolences to families of those who died and wished a speedy recovery to the injured, noting that the state government is covering all medical treatment for victims. She added that the government continues to engage traditional rulers, youth groups, and other stakeholders to strengthen peace-building efforts.
And away from that report, a Catholic priest and survivor of the terrorist attack at St. Francis Catholic Church in Ondo State has recounted the tragic incident that left over 40 worshippers dead and more than 100 injured, identified only as SSA for security reasons. The priest gave his testimony as the first prosecution witness before Justice Emeka Nwite at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Department of State Services is prosecuting 5 suspected terrorists, including Idris Abdul Malik Omeza, Al-Kazim Idris, Jamil Abdul Malik, Abdul Halim Idris, and Momo Tuho Bubakar, on a 9-count amended charge. The priest said the attack occurred toward the end of the first Pentecost Sunday service, which he presided over. He described hearing a loud noise, followed by sporadic gunfire, causing chaos among worshippers. He called June 5, 2022, a day he will never forget. Justice Nwite adjourned the trial until January 13 and 14, 2026, at noon for the continuation of hearings.
Still talking legal matters, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a no-case submission by Saleh Mamen, former Minister of Power under former President Muhammadu Buhari. The judge ruled that the EFCC had established a prima facie case against Mamen, require him to respond or present a defense given the seriousness of the allegations. He emphasized, however, that Mamen remains innocent until proven guilty. Mamen, appointed minister in August 2019 and sacked in September 2021, faces a 12-count amended charge. The EFCC alleges he conspired with ministry officials and private companies to misappropriate 33.8 billion naira meant for the Zongeru and Manbila hydroelectric projects.
Well, switching some gears now, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, has taken over the prosecution of Abuja-based lawyer Ahmed Abdul Rahman and 4 others accused of cyberbullying Senator Shehu Umar. At the resumed proceedings, AGF counsel Nebulei Abwe confirmed the Ministry of Justice has taken over the case from the police. Trial Justice Rita Ofili Ajumogobia granted the defendants bail of 1 million naira each, with one surety of the same amount, pending the conclusion of the trial.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has sealed the Ikeja Electric Distribution Company headquarters in Lagos for allegedly violating consumer rights. In a statement, the commission said the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission had issued a binding decision directing the distribution company to unbundle a maximum demand account into 20 non-maximum demand accounts. A maximum demand account is a system for large electricity consumers, commercial, industrial, or big residential with peak power usage that is high enough to require dedicated infrastructure like their own transformer. The FCCPC said the directive was intended to recognize the 19 residential units and the complainant service point as separate customer units and to provide the necessary metering and connection. The commission said Ikeja Electric did not carry out that decision, adding that because of this failure, the complainant has been without electricity supply for more than 2.5 years. The FCCPC said the exercise followed unsuccessful attempts to resolve the issues through warnings and dialogue. The Commission listed one of such attempts to include a directive to the company in April 2025 on the steps required and the timelines for compliance. Reacting to the development, Kingsley Okotie, head of corporate affairs at Ikeja Electric, disclosed in a statement that the company was still in discussions with the affected party and had not reached a resolution before its headquarters was sealed.
Well, joining us virtually to analyze these stories is Chijoke Oji. Chijoke, as usual, it's a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Welcome aboard. So let's begin with the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs approving the nomination of former Aviation Minister Fani-Kayode as ambassadors. Others that were cleared include former Interior Minister Abdulrahman Dambazao, ex-presidential aide Reno Omokri, Senator Ita Enang, Senator Grace Bend, and former Inec Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu. But you see, Chijoke, the one that is actually causing chatter on and offline is the approval of former presidential aide Reno Omokri. I just wanted to point that out. But what do you make of this whole exercise that played out today in the Red Chamber?
It's a complete shame. It's a shamble. It's a complete failure of the system. You know, it just simply says that these individuals are not serving the public or the people who have elected them to. It's just private interests being at play. You know, that's by the fact that the individuals, not just in the person of Reno Omokri, the person of Fani-Kayode, were also among the people who have put up heavy allegations, you know, which are yet to be substantiated or withdrawn by these individuals against the sitting president and some other eminent personalities in Nigeria. And one begins to ask what indeed is the rationale behind in certain areas where the security agencies ought to do the needful in probing these, not just remarks, but these were, you know, directly placed out informations to the general public and to the world view on the various persons, and they were attesting to the credibility of their sources. What this has simply done is to tarnish, if indeed any image existed, of the Senate, because this continues to drag down these, you know, esteemed and lofty, once respectful institution in Nigeria into the mud by individuals who have chosen personal interest against serving the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I really don't know what indeed would be the way forward as an average Nigerian now to demand for equity and fairness. Because we can see now that it is no longer about credibility or the individual's personalities or even their individuality that matters. What matters is that so long as you are in the party of the leadership, be it at the state level or the federal level, your sins are forgiven, you're washed clean, and nothing holds you back. Now we can see how indeed the current leadership is going after oppositions, making sure to crack down on oppositions that they once admired and cherished and polished when they were under the same APC. Now we now hear rumors of them being branded as the sponsors of this state terrorism against the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That we now hear that the same states are sending foods and money to the same terrorists in forests under the disguise of Christmas benevolence to them. So it's a shame if the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which now has become a laughingstock, not just at home, but also internationally, would pass people of questionable character. People that those who know them back home have come out to tell the people of Nigerians what they are and what they stand for. Can anybody tell us that they do not know the track record of the person of Femi Fani-Kayode? What indeed has been his political standpoints? One place to the other where his meals can be guaranteed. These individuals have lost any form of sanity or any form of attachment to their own, would you say, what they believe in. So it's simply a shame. And I beg to really state clearly that I'm highly disappointed with the current leadership of the Senate.
Okay, given the country's current security and economic challenges, we've seen, of course, we know we have a lot of security issues at the moment as a country. What diplomatic skills would you say are most essential in ambassadorial roles?
First of all, the image of Nigeria today has been battered so badly that anybody who is going to be representing Nigeria should be somebody of well-informed intellectual that understands the word international diplomacy. Because we need diplomacy and diplomatic engagements, especially in the finding of our solutions to the problems we now know. Now we know that these things, majority of the problems we have, are created by people in leadership. What do we now do? Is it to seek for just external help? But to diplomatically understand the ways to address them and how to relate with other nations, especially with the continued ill-fated way and manners Nigerians are treated abroad. The minute you leave the shores of Nigeria, you are not just treated as a criminal, but in most cases, you're reduced to, in fact, an individual with any form of, labeled of any form of negativity. And this has to change. It begins with how indeed the people who are coming to represent Nigerians as ambassadors, as a diplomatic relation of a country in another country, you know. So we expect that these individuals should not just be people of, of exemplary characters, but individuals who have over the years excelled in not just in diplomatic ties or in moving and advancing the nation's cause. What is Fani-Kayode and Omokri, who many have described now as a mocker, would bring to the table? Is it the same individuals who have not shown any form of practice in industries? What did they bring into the table? What are we set to achieve with deploying these individuals to be our representative approach? It simply means that we are still putting the same square pegs in a round hole, messing up the greater opportunity to even put the things or put our dear nation forefront in any right perspective. Now we have not only messed up at home in terms of rewarding political allies with key areas that drive economy. We have now taken it international to rubbishing the entire nation with people who have become comedians online, because that is the only major favored apprenticeship or form of occupation that flies in Nigeria today. Outside politics, the only thing that now thrives is comics, where another president of a country can be describing our dear nation as a country of those who are into just generating of contents. Contents for who? Are they developing contents of meaningful things? Is that what the ambassadors will be out there to do? It's really a shame. And what I want to ask is, in the course of these individuals being presented, it's obvious the states to which they claim they represent were not the ones who put out these names. Because if you are insulting the people of Delta to say that the best that can come out of Delta is Omokri, then Delta is finished. If you now bring it to Osun State, to tell the people of Osun State that the best person to bring out is Fani-Kayode, then it is completely finished. These are citadels of, intellectuals that you are now rubbishing with people who have questionable characters and have continued to display this shamelessly across boards in everything they put out there, including the first to do. Except if we're now saying that this is how we want to be seen and projected international, then well and good luck to Nigerians.
All right.
But if not, this is a good time for Nigerians to wake up and say, enough is enough. This is taxpayers' money. I pay these taxes, and we will not stand and continue to watch these same individuals continue to destroy the image of our dear country that has taken the founding fathers, their blood, to put our nation's flag where it is today.
Well, Chijoke, I want to come in here, right? Before we talk about President Tinubu's request for the National Assembly to approve the 2026-2028 medium-term expenditure framework, I want to touch on something you said earlier on, just for the sake of clarification. You are clamping down hard on the National Assembly and this administration. You said this administration is rewarding allies and people who sing their praises, but that they are clamping down on opposition. And you made allusion to terrorism financing and all of that. Well, the former AGF, Abubakar Malami, has spent 2 days in the EFCC custody. And an EFCC official came out to say that they're investigating him for money laundering. And they talked about monies missing when it comes to the Abacha loot. They also talked about financing terrorism. But the latest one is the arrest of Chris Ngige, a former governor of Anambra State. He used to be in the APC with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Would you say that his arrest also will be termed clamp down on opposition?
Of course it is. He's an individual who I would say has been a benefactor of the current sitting president. I would remember in 2012, the various role the current sitting president played in his role, I think the 2012 or 2013, during his contest of the Anambra elections. And he has continued to play that role, over the years in supporting the people. But where the fallout may have occurred, we do not know. But I recall one of the altercations between Chris Ngige and James Faleki, one of the representatives of the House of Rep member, who comes from Kogi, but representing one of the sections in Lagos State, where indeed Ngige in his outburst lambasted the current sitting president and forgetting the good old times. Well, I would say, based on my relationship with the current sitting president and what I know, because incidentally I was involved at a point in time and had to pull out because of the whole messy details behind it. I would say that politicians, when they have a fight, is when Nigerians get to benefit. Because we can see now that, the administration knew these individuals have been erring, but have kept quiet deliberately until they became clearly that they were oppositions. It is the same thing we're seeing with David Mark. It is the same thing we're seeing with other members of the factions that are creating the ADC and alternative opposition parties. It simply means that it is an intent to clamp down on opposition. What is happening to those who have either decamped overnight or consistently continue to decamp every day? And we know that the EFCC and other anti-corruption crusaders and organizations like ICPC are aware of the track records of these individuals. Why have they not been invited? Or is it simply conforming to what Chief Adams Oshomole, now Senator Adams Oshomole, consistently said, that once you join the APC, your sins are washed over. It means you have become clean. What is really happening is not something Nigerians should sit back and look as an entertainment. No, these are the lives of Nigerians that are consistently being damaged. In the sense that all this looting and jamboree and rewarding of criminality is still going to fall back on our dear states. The borrowers and the lenders of these funds are watching, and they will come if they have not already started confiscating assets of Nigerians. The same government says it is promoting the building of infrastructure. The same government is selling the infrastructures that are yet to be built or on the construction. What is the essence of the loans? We have never heard that amongst those that are within the APC members, which I can name at least 25 now, that have stolen several billions of nairas and that have held our nation captive, that are today singing praises on your mandate which shall stand. We have not heard any query on them. Is EFCC turning a blind eye on what indeed is happening between the case between Fani-Kayode and the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose? Has Nigerians now let it go? Has it gone to lie? even despite the admission in court of Fani-Kayode admitting to handing over 4 billion naira in cash to Ayodele Fayose. But today, the same Muslim Fani-Kayode is the kitchen cabinet of the sitting president, and nobody is speaking up against it, and yet his sins are washed away. The accomplice or the main perpetrator of the same crime is today shouting to the entire rooftops of how he is indeed a clean and handsome man. But yet Nigerians and the impoverished people of a state which he governed for 8 years cannot speak up and demand for justice or fairness or equity while others are being tried. It is not to say that we should spare anybody who have looted funds. Across boards, there's not a single person today we have heard that has held any government appointment in the past 10 years that is not indicted in humongous, unimaginable amount of money. And one begins to query and wonder, what is happening to the entire state of Nigeria?
Okay, Chijoke, let me come in here.
So we have lost integrity as to holding these people accountable. Or is it that it is now a clear intent that these individuals are bigger than the states? Or is it to say clearly that Nigeria is a failed state, where once you appoint an individual today, in less than a day or two, he has already started stealing? Today, we are seeing the ministers flying around. Tomorrow, we will hear how many billions have gone missing. Now we are hearing they have cleared the ambassadors. It is only a matter of deployment. We shall hear in the course of a few weeks how many billions of dollars or millions of naira, billions of naira that has gone missing.
Okay, Chijoke, let me take you to this move by the president. President Bola Tinubu has actually asked the National Assembly to approve the 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. Can you just a brief breakdown to what this means for us as a country?
You see, the major issue we have in our nation is our budgeting pattern and then our implementation. Each time we hear these beautiful words crafted, medium term, 5 years expenditure plan, or this and that, what we don't ask is the implementation of this budget. How is it being done? And then where are the key priorities of this administration? This budget that is seeking to implement now, what has happened to the 2025 implementation? Because it's expected, ideally, to review the year in view before you can set to present a budget of 2026. Now, let's not forget that the current year, 2025 budget, which the presidency put forward after the pardon, the back and forth, and then the supplementary budgets that were presented to the Senate, which did not even go through any form of debates. Acceleratedly, it was passed, and then the same budget is what we're now yet to get to understand what are the implementations thus far as regards with the so-called infrastructure being targeted to deliver. Perhaps the infrastructures being targeted to deliver are the number of the military personnel being attached to persons close to the president, which incidentally some people have come out to, openly tell Nigerians. This is what's happening. When Nigeria's budgeting pattern fails to meet expected goal, it simply means that it is a failed budget. We have been looking at some of the states' presentation for the 2026, where in some states, the recurrent expenditures are pari passu with the current expenditures. And we ask ourselves, what indeed are the intent of our Federal Republic budget, which is at the center budget, that incidentally is meant to be saving and boosting economy based on what the papers are saying by NNPC, which is now a public limited liability company, by the FIRS, which is saying to be generating several trillions of naira, by the continued loans that are being harvested like we are planting yam behind the backyard with fertilizer. what Nigerians should be asking is, this midterm budget you're setting up, what are the expected time of delivery and how do we monitor the progress? Which is the duty of the National Assembly to query. But you can be rest assured that the same National Assembly that has continued to have breakfast at the villa, have lunch within the Senate, and then dinner at the villa, will definitely pass without even knowing what indeed the intent of what the whole budget captures. I wish indeed there will be time to analyze and then take a look at these expenditures or what are the expectations. Because it is good for Nigerians to understand clearly the damages that are happening before our own very eyes under the disguise that, yes, once you elect an individual, you have no query as to how they govern or whatever they do to the resources of the entire country. No. That other nations are developing is because they have a system that works. The fact that you're on the driver's seat does not mean that you can plow the car into a river. What we're witnessing is a deliberate plunge of our resources to areas that we cannot explain and have not seen benefits to the ordinary persons, not even to the middle class citizens of Nigeria. Even the rich today are crying. Today we now have that the rich also cry.
Yeah, Chijoke, if I can come in here, you know, truly the rich also cry. And you talked about the middle class. I mean, we don't even know if that exists anymore. There's the upper and then there's the lower. But you know, you talked about time earlier on. This is the much we can take for now. And you've been brilliant as usual. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have been speaking with Chijoke Orji. He is a public affairs analyst. You're still watching News Hour on VOP TV. More stories after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima has inaugurated the Aliko Dangote Foundation's Education Scholarship Initiative in Lagos. Shettima called on stakeholders to recommit to building a future where every Nigerian child can reach their full potential, praising Dangote's philanthropic efforts. Aliko Dangote said the foundation's 100 billion naira annual education program will expand access to quality learning nationwide, with beneficiaries selected through a transparent, merit-based process. He also announced partnerships with NELFund, NECO, WAEC, and other agencies to ensure accountability, adding that 25% of his personal wealth is dedicated to the foundation beyond his lifetime. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa described the initiative as one of Nigeria's most comprehensive human capital programs, while UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, Lagos Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the Oni of Ife all commended the effort. Retired Justice Sidi Baji, Emir of Lafia, and Chairman of the Foundation Steering Committee pledged full support to ensure the initiative's success.
We now move on to Edo State, where the residents of Edo State are urging government authorities to tighten security at public gatherings this December amid rising concerns over crime. With reports of theft, violent clashes, and other criminal activities, residents fear large festive events could become easy targets if adequate measures are not enforced. Correspondent Roldan Journey tells us more.
Are calling on government authorities to regulate public gatherings this December, citing growing concerns over rising insecurity in the state. Community members warn that large events and gatherings could become targets for criminal activities if proper security measures are not enforced.
I cannot say because of insecurity that events should not be held. The government should do their best providing security. So like in other parts of the nation that the short schools is not the best. What will happen to our children are their education. So the government should do a lot of work in order to provide security for large gatherings.
Security agents to make sure they keep the environment safe.
what I expect the government to do and every citizen is for us to be vigilant. At this critical time, we cannot leave the issue of security in the hands of government. We should all put our hands together to make sure our environment and our society is safe for us to live in.
According to locals, recent incidents of thefts, violent clashes, and other criminal activities have heightened fears, particularly during festive periods when public gatherings are more frequent. Many residents urge both state and local authorities to step up security and ensure that events are closely monitored.
I don't think it can be entirely stopped because some gatherings are gatherings for happiness, like marriages and other celebrations, baby dedications and all of that. So I just feel that the government should put a curfew that no gathering should be above 6 p.m., 7 p.m. and it should be security tight, and it should also be a place that people can see each other, not in hidden venues too. Or you can do a closed door activities where you are very sure that nothing can happen to you and your guests in that particular place.
Authorities are yet to release an official statement, but residents insist that early intervention is necessary to prevent incidents during the busy holiday season. In Benin, Rhoda Johnny, VOP TV News.
Rhoda, thank you. And now the ruling house of Ijebu-Ode has rejected Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde Marshal, popularly known as Kwam One, from participating in the ongoing Awujale selection exercise. The ruling house dismissed his lineage claim as null and void, stating that their inquiry found no evidence linking him to the Jajera royal house or the wider lineage responsible for producing the next Awujale of Ijebu land. A letter signed by Chairman Lateef Owoyemi also questioned the certification of Ayinde's form, noting that the endorser, Abayomi Odunyeye, is not recognized as a member of the Jajera royal house.
On the foreign scene, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has defended the United States seizure of an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Leavitt said the vessel is a sanctioned shadow tanker known for carrying black market oil to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. She added that while the U.S. intends to seize the oil, the process is subject to legal procedures. Venezuela has condemned the action as international piracy, accusing the U.S. of trying to seize its oil without compensation. The move comes amid heightened tensions with President Donald Trump, criticizing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro over alleged drug smuggling and the U.S. bolstering its military presence in the Caribbean to curb illegal drug flows.
Still on the foreign scene, police say more than 600 culturally significant artifacts have been stolen from Bristol Museum's archive in a high-value raid. Among the items taken were military memorabilia, jewelry, natural history pieces, and carved ivory, bronze and silver figurines. Detectives have released CCTV images of 4 men seen in the Cumberland Basin area after part of the museum's British Empire and Commonwealth collection was stolen. Philip Walker, head of the culture at Bristol City Council, described the theft as devastating.
We now move on to business, where Nigeria's crude oil production climbed marginally to 1.436 million barrels per day in November, up from 1.401 million barrels per day in October. This is according to the latest Organization of Petroleum Exports and Countries monthly oil market report. Despite a modest increase, the report shows that Nigeria fell short of meeting its OPEC-assigned quota for the 4th consecutive month, the last time it met its target being July 2025. According to OPEC's data, Nigeria averaged 1.444 million barrels per day in the third quarter of 2025, representing a decline from 1.481 million barrels per day in Q2 and 1.468 million barrels per day in Q1. The figures highlight the country's ongoing struggle to sustain production recovery despite new investments and government interventions in the upstream sector.
Still business, the National Bureau of Statistics says the average price of 5 kg of cooking gas increased from 6,395.82 naira recorded in September to 8,081.75 naira in October. The NBS said this in its Cooking Gas Price Watch for October, released in Abuja. The report said that the October price represented a 26.36% increase compared to what was obtained in September. It said that the average price of 5 kg of cooking gas increased on a year-on-year basis by 16.86% from 6,915.69 naira in October 2024. On state profile analysis, the report showed that Borno recorded the highest average price at 8,376.44, followed by Yobe at 8,357.98 naira and Ondo at 8,340.30 naira. It said that Bauchi recorded the lowest price at 7,051.54 naira, followed by Ebonyi, and Akwa Ibom at 7,744 naira and 7,806 naira, respectively, I should say. Analysis of the 6 zones showed that the Northwest recorded the highest average retail price at 8,188 naira for 5 kg of cooking gas, followed by the North Central at 8,153 naira. The South recorded the lowest average retail price at 7,956.61 naira.
In sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons have slipped one spot in the latest FIFA Women's rankings, moving from 36th to 37th. The team was inactive during the last international break, contributing to the drop. Despite this, they remain Africa's top-ranked side. South Africa, Ghana, Zambia, and Morocco complete the continent's top 5. Globally, Spain leads the rankings, followed by United States, Germany, England, and Sweden.
Well, in the world of entertainment, a former national president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, Emeka Rollas, has confirmed a car accident involving the Guild's newly elected president, Abubakar Yakubu, on Tuesday night in Lagos. Rollas said Yakubu's vehicle suffered a brake failure, causing a collision that killed a child and injured the child's mother, who is receiving medical care. He added that Yakubu fully cooperated with law enforcement and emergency responders, and that AGN leadership has visited the family to offer condolences and support. Rollas noted that Yakubu, though physically unhurt, is deeply shaken and heartbroken by the incident.
Okay, that's still in entertainment. Burna Boy has revealed he's receiving medical treatment while on his No Sign of Weakness tour. The Grammy-winning singer shared a video on Instagram showing himself in bed with an IV drip. The disclosure comes after a viral incident at his Colorado concert, where he removed a couple from the front row for sleeping, sparking widespread debate. The fallout affected his tour schedule, leading to the cancellation of 2 key U.S. concerts.
And that wraps it up for us in News Hour. But before we go, a quick look at the headlines. We told you that the Senate has cleared Fani-Kayode, Omokri, Ikpeazu, former Inec chair, others for ambassadorial positions.
Also, Tinubu seeks National Assembly approval for 2026 to 2028 MTEF.
Reps ask federal government to cut aviation taxes by 50% to curb soaring airfares.
Nigeria, Benin foreign ministers meet amid security concerns.
Bayelsa Deputy Governor collapses and rushed to hospital.
Plateau Governor meets defense ministers, seeks collaboration.
Well, on the foreign scene, White House defense seizures of Venezuelan oil tanker.
In business, Nigeria's oil output rises to 1.436 million barrels per day in November, misses OPEC quota.
In sports news, Super Falcons slip one spot but retain top position in Africa.
And in the world of entertainment, AGN confirms newly elected president involved in car accident they killed a child.
Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. On other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happening near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness reports, event coverage requests, photos, or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Vivian Oguche.
And I am Nenna Ndomdioto. Thank you for watching.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both